Okay, so first of all, a lot of Tashidelik to all of you, starting from the lamas, Kempo, monks and nuns, and so many great practitioners are here today in this, the first day of the Kagyu Monlam. So I'm very fortunate to be here, and I'm very lucky and fortunate to be here, and I'm really happy to be here. And thank you very much for everything. So to all of you, as we all know, this is a very special day for all of us. Praying and practicing all together, Kagyu Monlam in Taiwan, in Kaohsiung, and I am very happy to be here. And on the top of that, on the schedule, it has mentioned that the teaching in the afternoon. So even though I don't have a lot of experience, but with a lot of respect from my side, I would like to share a few words from my side to all of you. So first of all, I haven't been in Taiwan probably around 3 years. 3 years ago I was in Taiwan and Taipei doing my own thing and giving and teaching in Parliament, probably 3 to 4 years ago. And then after 3 years, coming to my own center, meeting my own student, teaching and talking with people. And then not long ago, probably like 2 weeks ago, two lamas, they came to my center and they told me, if I can make it to Kagyu Monlam, it would be really nice. They request me to come. And then I said, of course, my pleasure, with my deepest respect, and of course I'm happy to be in service of this Kagyu Monlam. So that's why I'm here today, right in front of you, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my own dharmic experience, as I mentioned. So I'm going to continue that. And then on top of that, in general, I would like to share a little bit of story about this Kagyu Monlam from my perspective. Of course, all of you heard the introduction way before anything I have mentioned, I will mention right now. But 1984. In 1984, the first Kalu Rinpoche, he went to Bodhigaya with his monks, with his holy tour to all the holy places. At that time, with a few number of monks, he started this Kagyu Monlam. And then he continued this Monlam every year, and he invited the previous Jambu Gongtrul Rinpoche, he invited Jerusalem Rinpoche, very often in Bodhigaya, they did the Monlam together. And then after that, previous Kalu Rinpoche passed away. Jerusalem Rinpoche, the disciple of previous Kalu Rinpoche, he continued the Kagyu Monlam in the same way, and he maintained and he took the full responsibility. And then after a while, His Holiness Jamwan Karmapa Ujintilen Dorje, he took the responsibility of this Kagyu Monlam. So His Holiness improved and upgraded the Monlam very, very much, 10 times and 20 times way more than before. So seeing our Holiness great Dharma activity, and me being here, I'm really humbled, and I feel really blessed and fortunate to be here. So today we are here because we want to practice Dharma, and we want to practice the Monlam all together as a one family, and that's the only reason we are here. And in this 21st century, we have so many different perspectives and so many different directions the way we practice. Most of us, some of us, we practice in a very spiritual way. Some of us, we practice in a very religious way. Some of us, we practice in a very intellectual way. Some of us, we practice in a very simplicity way. All of us, we are all Buddhist Dharma practitioners, and we dedicate our prayer and our wish to all sentient beings, and that is absolutely a really positive movement. But I think certain improvement is necessary in our path of Dharma practice. Because anybody can practice, anybody can visualize, anybody can think positive. It's so easy. I tell you something to think or pray or visualize, we'll do that because we just copy that. But improving and adapting that quality of what you practice into your daily life, I think that is the priority by calling ourselves a Buddhist practitioner. Because practicing is easy, visualizing is easy, chanting is easy, but to bring the true quality and the message of the Dharma itself into our mind, into our habit, into our personality, that is our priority, that is our practice. What we do, chanting, praying, visualizing, that is a preparation. True practice is our reality. If we cannot overcome the problem that we face in the reality, then there's no point of practicing Dharma. So, what we do, chanting, visualizing, praying, behaving, thinking positive, because all these are preparation for ourselves to overcome the problem that we face in the reality world. So I think to recognize what is the priority and not just having a thought of what is priority, also improving your path, I think that is very important for all of us. Elder practitioner, young practitioner, new generation practitioner, old practitioner, traditional, non-traditional, all of us. I think certain improvement and understanding the priority and the true message of the Dharma and the practice itself, understanding and improving and practicing and adapting step by step, I think that is necessary. And then also in this 21st century, in this small planet we live in this very small planet that we live in, we actually think a lot. We say, oh, I want to be a modern Buddhist. I want to be an intellectual modern Buddhist practitioner. Maybe people need a modern approach. People don't need the modern approach. We don't need to create a new Buddhism. The way the Buddha is, all the teaching the Buddha left for us, I think is more than enough to make ourselves into the right path. So I think accepting the true meaning of Dharma is more important. Because, like example, we think a lot about impermanent. Like if we say in Tibetan, we say that mitapa. We talk a lot about mitapa. We talk a lot. We think a lot about mitapa. We read a lot about mitapa. We always see a lot of impermanent all around us. But the problem with us, including myself, is that we never did accept the meaning of impermanent at all. We just know it's impermanent. We are not accepting it. And that is the main obstacle in our Dharma practice. Because we always think through our mind, we never adapt the teachings of the Buddha into our heart. We just take it as a part of knowledge and we just keep it there. And whenever we like to use it, we use it a little bit. But I think, like example, like simple, like impermanence, meaning of impermanence is so simple. But if you understand the true meaning of impermanence itself, if you truly accept, then the Dharma practice is so easy to understand. When you couldn't accept the meaning of impermanence, even the great teaching cannot liberate your mind. So I think understanding the meaning of impermanence, studying about the meaning of impermanence, accepting is the main point. Accepting the meaning of impermanence by our heart, not just by our mind, I think that is really important. Because through that, our improvement into our spiritual understanding, the improvement towards the approach towards other people, that will actually help by understanding and accepting the meaning of impermanence. The longer you block the reality, the longer you will get stuck. So the sooner you accept the movement of reality, the sooner you will understand the true meaning of Dharma. I think that is quite important. Sometimes we are not actually practicing the Dharma along with the experience. Sometimes we are practicing Dharma just to fulfill our own desire, and that's the part of the main problem. Because we often practice very much to fulfill our own desire. You know, you just want to practice more. That is not how Dharma works. Wanting more, creating more desire is not how the Dharma practice works. The way the Dharma practice works, 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years later, even nowadays, it will only work. The way you practice, the way it will improve, the way it works is only through your teacher and keeping the commitment by yourself, by the teacher, and going along with your experience is important and it is necessary. Because nowadays we practice, including myself. I'm not saying I'm a great teacher or I'm Kalu Rinpoche and I never make mistake and you always make mistake. I'm not saying that. I made mistake also. I made terrible mistake. I made a lot of confusion. I made a lot of mistake. You know, and you and me, we are equally same. I have the name of Kalu Rinpoche and that's it. Other than that, I need to eat breakfast, I need to eat lunch, you need to eat dinner. We are equally same. You know, we are not so much different actually by the end of the day. You know, I achieved some spiritual experience and I'm sure you will achieve certain step of experience of your spiritual path. But the way we practice needs to be more accurate. Because most of the time we practice the Dharma to fulfill our own desire. Sometimes the way to practice the Dharma practice itself, you need to stop doing what you're doing. You need to stop and slow down. Slow down and then tell yourself, am I going in the right direction or in the wrong direction? Am I practicing properly or not? Am I keeping my samaya towards my teacher stable or not? Am I actually improving in my dharmic path or not? Sometime to improve your dharma practice, you need to stop. Then you can improve. Sometime you need to continue. Sometime you need to stop. But that kind of example can be given, will be given by your teacher and teacher only. And that is necessary. Yeah, my pride is telling me, Kalu Rinpoche, you are doing good. You know? That is something you need to recognize. Pride itself. Not enlightenment, not bodhicitta, not compassion, but pride. Pride will make you study everything, but pride will destroy everything, what you just practice and what you just study. Okay, so I think that whether we call ourselves dharmic practitioner or religious practitioner or spiritual practitioner or holy practitioner or lazy practitioner or bad practitioner or good practitioner, whatever you call it, whatever you are, doesn't matter. By the end of the day, we must recognize our own pride. That is priority, that is important. Because myself, when I receive teachings from my teacher, sometimes I never understood. Not because the way he teaches is wrong, not because the Dharma is wrong, because my pride is too high. That's why I never understood the Dharma. Sometimes Buddha is not his fault. Sometimes Buddhism is not so difficult to understand. Sometimes you just need to understand yourself a little bit better. And then you will understand the Buddhism much better. So, Because every time we call ourselves as a Buddhist practitioner, or whatever the practitioner we call it, we always focus very much into the external ways, like you visualize Buddha or you visualize Tanka. We are very dependent by that. Of course, that is necessary in the first step. But I think by the end of the day, we must check our own state of mind. I think that is quite important. Because when I had a pride, when my personal experience, when I receive a teaching, a great teaching from a great teacher, whenever I receive teaching, sometimes I never understand the meaning of teaching, the meaning of Dharma, the meaning of Samaya, the meaning of the great teachers. Because my pride is always creating a problem. And then, so I think, whenever you receive teachings, whenever you practice Dharma, whatever you visualize or whatever you meditate, it's important to tell yourself that I do not know anything. And then you start your Dharma practice. Never start with your Dharma practice with, I know everything, and then start visualizing or start praying. Never start your practice like that. That was my personal experience. Because once you have that kind of a concept of yourself saying that I know everything, I am everything, and then that's the moment that you are blocking yourself from the beautiful blessing of the Dharma itself. So I think whenever we study or practice or visualize or meditate, it's important to tell yourself that everything around me is impermanent, and that is the reality, and I truly accept that. And myself, I do not know anything, and for that, I'm practicing this Kagyu Monlam, or meditation, or visualization. So I think preparation for your small session of practice, preparation is more important than the actual practice, because that will create a less distraction. Because anybody can do practice, anybody can do visualization, anybody can behave so nice and here and there. But practicing with the less distraction is our priority to improve our experience in a short time. The more we're distracted, the longer we will practice. The longer we practice, the more bored we are, and the more bored we are, the less value you see in Dharma. So I think recognizing your own distraction, recognizing your own pride is the priority, and once you recognize and admit that, and then anything is unstoppable for you. Anything can improve rapidly. That is my personal experience, and I share with you with my deepest respect. Thank you. So, as I said, like an example in this modern world, as I said, we need a teacher. Nowadays, the way we understand the meaning of teacher is very much different from the way it should be. And nowadays, the teacher and the student is a very, it's different. Because the way the spiritual Dharma practice works and the way the connection works between the teacher and student is that you must and you have to know your teacher. Teacher have to know the student. Without that knowledge, the whole idea of Buddhism, Dharma practice is not stable. So having a personal connection between the teacher, yourself and your teacher, I think that is very, very important. And, in the Buddhist Dharma text, we say that we must see our teacher as a Buddha, or Vajradhara, or a great Bodhisattva. With all due respect, I must say something. Not against, but through experience. It's very, very, very difficult to see our own teacher as a Buddha. in the beginning, because we have no spiritual Dharma quality. We see the teacher's mistake. We see the teacher as a human being. You know, that's how it starts. So, step by step, the more you receive teaching, the more you recognize yourself. The more you recognize yourself, the less pride it will be. And the less the pride there is, the more inner beauty will arise naturally. The more inner beauty, the more beauty experience arises naturally, the more value and the more great example that you will see within your teacher and the teacher's teaching. You know, so for all of us, for the beginner, for the practitioner, for the first level of beginner practitioner, for all of us, to see our teacher as a Buddha is very, very difficult. It was difficult for me, it is difficult for you. But if we practice step by step, with the retreat, with the prayer, with the visualization, with the meditation, with the commitment, and then one day you will see your teacher as a Buddha or as a Bodhisattva. Because most of us, the way we practice the Dharma, we always feel very obligated. You know, we always tell ourselves that I must do the practice. I must visualize this deity. Otherwise, it's not good. We have this belief, you know, I must do. If I don't do, it's bad. But when you look for what is bad, there's no bad itself. You know, so very often when we practice Dharma, we always do the Dharma practice with the obligation. Practicing with the obligation will make a lot of obstacle, will discourage you very often. So I think the way to practice Dharma, I think we have to find a joy and a passion, and you must enjoy when you practice. We must find the passion when we practice. And to find that passion and positive energy, we must read a great example and a great story of all the great different teachers, of all the Buddha and all the Bodhisattvas. So by the reading of all the great example of the great teacher, it will inspire you, it will give inspiration, it will give you encouragement, so that you will find a joy and happiness when you practice the Dharma. That's how I improved, and that's how you will improve. And that is just one possibility that I've just shown you with my deepest respect.